Vallabha Girivara Hari Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanansari Jamuna Tira Vanansari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanansari Jamuna Tira Vanansari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radhe, Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada, Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada, Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada, Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Gaura Pimanandi Jaya Misipada Paramahamsa Pri Vrajagacharya Stotara Satya Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Cheraboy Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandaditi Founder Charya Divine Grace Sri Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Sri Laharidas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Dainitai Gaura Pimanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada Ki. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Sarakaya Chaksuranmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Syam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Vivishakam Sham Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Dharam Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the Supremost Human Being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayasha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhaviti Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart that becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama-shloka charitam Sakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya lokasya Dhanyam Swasyayana Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all the literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Sarabhyai Namaha Om Sarabhyai Namaha Om Sarabhyai Namaha Mukham karoti vasaram pangom langayate girim yadkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Yat-kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Continuing from Canto number 1, chapter 17, that we started a few days back, entitled Punishment and Reward of Kali. And today we're doing number 4, huh? 4. Yes, doing number 4. Tatracha Ratam Arudaha Kartasvara Parichadam Megha Gambhiraya Vacha Samarupita Karmukha Papracharatam Arudha Kartasvara Parichadam Mega Gambhiraya Vacha Samarupita Karmuka Papracharatam Arudha Kartasvara Parichadam Megha Gambhiraya Vacha Samarupita Karmuka Papracharatam Arudha Kartasvara Parichadam Kartasvara Parichadam Megha Gambhiraya Vacha Samarupita Karmuka Papracharatam Arudha Kartasvara Parichadam Samarupita Karmuka Papracharatam Arudha Kartasvara Parichadam Megha Gambhiraya Vacha Samaropita karmuka.
Papracha ratham arudha
Paprachyatam arudaha.
Kartasvara parichadam
Kartasvara parichadam.
Megha gambhiraya vacha
Megha gambhiraya vacha.
Samaropita karmukaha
Samaropita karmuka.
Prapachaaratam arudha
Prapachaaratam arudha.
Kartasvara parichadam
Kartasvara parichadam.
Megha gambhiraya vacha
Megha gambhiraya vacha.
Samaropita karmukha
Samaropita karmuka. Papracha inquired. Ratham, chariot. Arudaha, seated on. Kartasvara, gold. Parichdadam, embossed with. Megha, cloud. Gambhiraya, exonerating. Vacha, sound. Samaropita, well equipped. Karmukaha, arrows and bow. Translation and purport by the Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Maharaja Parīkṣit, well equipped with arrows and bow, and seated on a gold embossed chariot, spoke to him, the śūdra, with a deep voice, sounding like thunder. Kindly repeat after me. Maharaja Parīkṣit, well equipped with arrows and bow, and seated on a gold embossed chariot, spoke to him, the śūdra, with a deep voice, sounding like thunder. Purport. An administrative head or king like Maharaja Parīkṣit, with full majestic authority, well equipped with weapons to chastise miscreants, can challenge the agents of the age of Kali. Then only will it be possible to counteract the degraded age. And in the absence of such strong executive heads, there is always disruption of tranquility. The elected show-bottle executive head, as representative of a degraded public, cannot be equal with a strong king like Maharaja Parīkṣit. The dress or style of royal order does not count. It is one's actions which are counted. Translation again. Maharaja Parīkṣit, well equipped with arrows and bow, and seated on a gold embossed chariot, spoke to him, the śūdra, with a deep voice sounding like thunder. So a few points are brought out in the purport. The first one being that whenever there is necessity, those who are in positions of administration, they must have weapons to show. That is why that name is there, Dandaniti. Danda, what is the different meanings of danda? To chastise, right? And they translate in English, from what I see, the rod of chastisement.
Punishment, chastisement.
Yeah, means something. Generally, traditionally, was a sword. So many different. Unless people know and see also that there are weapons that can be effective in curbing the miscreants, then people will carry on with, well, first of all, they will not be protected. So, of course, nowadays we're not lacking in weapons in different countries around the world. We are having a surplus of all kinds of very dangerous weapons, but unfortunately those are being misused. So the other point which is mentioned here in terms of the type of what is meant to be, what has traditionally been the ideal system of governance. And Prabhupada makes brief reference in the purport how the modern day system of governance, which is prevalent pretty well all over the world, means democracy, where people are elected, is it? By vote, people are elected to different administrative posts, is far from ideal, although everyone is praising and advocating, and it has become the standard in so many countries around the world. Whereas Prabhupada points out actually the flaws or the weaknesses of this type of system of governance. And in the last century, approximately, we have seen, well, in the last 2 centuries, we have seen actually the abolition of monarchy. Monarchy is still present in a few countries, not many. If you travel to Cambodia, you will enter what is called the Kingdom of Cambodia. If you travel to Thailand, you will enter the Kingdom of Thailand. A few years ago, if you entered Nepal, you would enter the Kingdom of Nepal, but now it's no longer referred to as. So this is like, of course, modern day people will say now that we are advancing, we are doing away with monarchy, because people have, in general, and probably rightly so as well, very bad impression of monarchy. In the Bhagavatam, it gives a list of all the different, isn't it? That's one of there are 10 topics that are covered in the Bhagavatam. One of them are the manus, the administrators, the monarchs, the great kings. And the list is given, then at one point it stops. Because it stops because there are no more great kings to be, to be kept in the annals of history. And it means that actually practically it's understandable that people have a very negative impression of monarchy, because most of what we have seen in Kali-yuga is bad monarchy, to the point that it became, there was necessity to overthrow monarchy, which was done approximately 200 years ago in Europe, very major historical event that has actually shaped the present course of history to this day. Important for us to know, especially as devotees, those who are devotee means someone who is knowing about the basic principles of Dharma and who knows by studying such literatures as Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, the standard basic books of knowledge for humanity, for the whole of humanity. We know that unless there are qualified intellectual persons whom we call as brahmanas in the Vedic culture, and unless we have qualified leaders whom are known as kshatriyas, so those specifically were the two groups that were abusing their power, and therefore we have been these two particular positions in society, that of Brahmana, that of Kshatriya, has been largely rejected because of, we call it misuse, because of corruption, wide corruption. But that does not mean that actual brahmanas or the position or post of brahmana and the position of kshatriya is to be rejected. And Prabhupada makes the point here how what is important are the qualifications or qualities that one is meant to display. And of course, there's so many examples of that. Just like here, we see that Parīkṣit Maharaj is personally going and traveling throughout his kingdom, and personally now he's about to, tomorrow the verse will be Parīkṣit Maharaj confronting the miscreant, Kali, who is abusing both the cow and the bull. So in other words, there is need of qualified individuals within any society, and especially in modern day society, where we could say it is obvious, an acute shortage. I remember a few years back, I was in Indonesia doing some other kind of research on Gurukul at that time, actually, and and there was a big headline in the newspaper one day saying that, wanted leaders. It means every country is faced with this type of situation where we are lacking very much qualified leaders to organize society. We're lacking leaders to be in traditionally war, and we find very wonderful descriptions. For example, when when there was a need of creating or establish a new village, because in the Vedic culture there are very clear-cut guidelines. It's like, once a village reaches a certain level in terms of population, that you don't like just make a city out of it. What has been happening in modern day society, we amalgamate, villages, and they become towns and cities. Towns, cities, and villages are described, and whenever there was a need to create a new village, then the Kshatriya, the king, he would go with his ministers, and they would have the minister Brahmanas, because they have all kinds of very important knowledge, they would be guiding the king, okay, where to actually establish a village. And there are very detailed descriptions actually in the Shastra that certain natural resources should be there. It should be easy enough to protect. So either it should have a river close by or some mountain. The different criteria are given. And these criteria is what is meant to be learned actually in Gurukul, for those who are meant to become qualified brahmanas or qualified kshatriyas. Same thing also for qualified vaishyas. There are standard books of knowledge, and these are meant to be the subject matters that are taught in these traditional, um, we could say, Vedic institutions. So part of what we as devotees, although it may not seem, it is definitely not a popular subject matter, um, monarchy, the whole concept of monarchy. Um, but unless one takes the time to begin to study, monarchy, to train someone as a monarch, as a king, uh, takes actually many years, and there's all kinds of very interesting, very important uh, subject matters, and very logical, very scientific. Just like to choose um, a king who has to choose ministers, people who will help him in the administration. One of the criteria is that he should choose people whom he knows from his childhood. I mean, there should be somebody that he already knows, not just some um, kind of like less known person. Um, somebody from one's country, as opposed to what happened a few years ago, without going into details, where you end up being the head of the country belonging to another country. Uh, so many very simple but yet very practical uh, principles and directives are given actually in the Shastra. So we primarily, we means we as devotees and we as a society have primarily focused, and that's important to focus there also on the spiritual aspect, but there's also a need for us to understand, and that's Hare Krishna. That's why this project is here, in the sense of trying to find a proper balance, the need for some of our devotees to also be familiar with, the whole organizational aspect of general society, means the whole aspect of Varnashrama, where these subject matters are more uh, dealt with. Monarchy um, system. There are different systems of governance. There's different isms, Prabhupada explains, that have come up, especially in the last century or so. Uh, Socialism and capitalism and communism, etc., etc. Of course, some people say, well, what about Vaishnavism? That's also Vaishnavism. But Vaishnavism is grounded in Shastra. It's grounded in Shastra. So this is building up to the exchange that will be taking place between Parīkṣit Maharaj and yeah. Yes.
Maharaj, we can see that, as you mentioned in the class, that unqualified monarchs had been here. I mean, we can see that even Dwapara Yuga in even Teta, there had been those who were not qualified, and yet the monarchy continued.
Yes.
Now, as we can see that Srila Prabhupada also established a system where it was kind of a board, not pointing. And what would be the reason? Because, I mean, we understand it was the beginning of the about that.
Yes. We know Srila Prabhupada. So the question is that how, I mean, throughout the Vedic literatures, as we are reading now, that monarchy was the standard in terms of governance. Even though there were bad monarchs at that time also. It's not only in Kali-yuga. Of course, Kali-yuga is like totally corrupt, so to speak. So in that context, how to understand how our particular society and maybe why Srila Prabhupada established what is called governing body, which is a board of directors kind of group of people, which is based on democracy actually. So a few points in that respect is that he was keeping in mind and also the directive that was given by his own spiritual master, as we know, Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, had requested for his own organization, the Gaudiya Math, that upon his, he was obviously, because he created the Gaudiya Math, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, so he was like the monarch. Yeah. But he, before leaving, as we know, he instructed that for the future management of the Gaudiya Math, you should select a governing body. Yeah. And the main reason being that presently, in Kali-yuga, because the situation is so degraded and challenging, that it's very difficult to find such qualified, let's say, main leader. Yeah. And therefore, he gave that directive, and Srila Prabhupada was very fully aware of that, and he comments at different places as well. And he followed that instruction, understanding that the same condition is there, especially in the context of how Srila Prabhupada started the society by, going to the Western world and taking people who had no connection whatsoever actually with the Vedic culture. So I see this as it's kind of like an interim situation where if we take to heart, if we actually understand and follow all of the different instructions given by Srila Prabhupada, especially those related to training and educating our own devotees and people in general, which is actually connected with the first of the 7 purposes that Prabhupada formulated for guiding the society. And the first is to systematically teach and train and introduce the science of, ultimately of Krishna consciousness, for which, as we know, Prabhupada in 1974, to be precise, gave the instruction. That's when he made reference to the need of establishing varnashram colleges. because Varnashram colleges, he had previously instructed about introducing Gurukula. So Gurukula is a traditional system for introducing Vedic culture. So I'm sure that Prabhupada, in his, and he expressed at different times, the more we follow in this way by introducing systematically Vedic tradition, Vedic culture, Vedic sciences, both in terms of young boys at the level of Gurukula, and then for older boys in terms of Varnashram college, then over a number of years, or it may even take a few generations, we will begin to have individuals who are actually qualified and who actually can, according to the situation, the social situation in which we will find ourselves, at some particular point reintroduce the Vedic system of governance, which is monarchy. But we are definitely not ready for that. People in general, and even, I suppose, many of our devotees are less familiar with the principles of monarchy, the whole science, very profound subject matters, which are meant to be taught, which are actually, it's one of the faculties that is meant to be there in the Varnashram college, isn't it? The four basic faculty based on Sattva Vidya. I mean, I think I was mentioning some time back how I had written some recommendation for establishing actually Varnashram ministry within our society, global, and I had made reference to how to do that by introducing Varnashram college based on Chatur Vidya. So individuals who are reading that report had written back to me that maybe you made a mistake in this word Chatur Vidya. What is that? Chatur Vidya means we don't know. Most devotees are not even familiar with that terminology or with what that implies, because most of because we're not teaching it systematically. We're not teaching Vedic sociology. Vedic sociology is based on all the different aspects that is meant to make up a community, whether at the village level or at the nation, let's say country level, and ultimately global level in terms of, monarchy, the monarchy that existed during the time of Parīkṣit Maharaj included the concept of not only kings, but emperor. Recently, somebody was telling that, well, anyway, I won't mention that. Sometimes, even today, some people act in such a way as if they are emperors of the world. No comments. If we're not ready for kings, we are definitely not ready for emperors. So, it's important for us as devotees, rank and file devotees, to understand that whatever we are reading, like in the Bhagavatam and in our Vedic literature, this is like standard knowledge. This is very scientific knowledge, especially in terms of the whole topic of governance. And we've also been talking, this all connected with Mother Bhumi, Mother Bhumi, the earth taking the form of a cow, and Dharma taking the form of a bull are being abused and this brings up the whole topic, which is, again, unfortunately, so far removed, very unfortunately, so alien, practically alien to the vast majority of our devotees. What to speak of those who are not devotees, because they have no access. I mean, as devotees, we have access to these books. We have access to this knowledge. We have access to these sciences, these standard sciences. And Prabhupada wanted that we have Varnashram College so that we have at least some of our members within the society take up such kind of studies, because unless we train leaders in those particular areas, means Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, especially, then society will continue to be not properly organized, to say the least. So I would say that, coming back to your question, we're surrounded by democracy, and Prabhupada does say that amongst democracy works when you have people who are of equal. It's like when you have a group of brahmanas together, because they're in knowledge, they're meant to be in knowledge, then they together can take a particular decision. So it's not that democracy is completely the way it is presently introduced and followed. It is not the proper way, because we have people who are not qualified, who are making decisions as to who should be taking up leadership positions, etc. So I see it as a temporary or interim type of period where eventually it can only happen once we have qualified individuals within society who can take up or reestablish the standard that is being advocated, like in the Vedic culture. There are standards for kshatriyas, for leaders. There are standards for households. There are standards for all the different orders within society. Yes. Yes.
Anvikshiki, Trayi, Dandaniti and Varta.
Yes.
But Maharaj, what does it really include?
Huh?
What does this really include?
What do these include?
Like Anvikshiki for Anvikshiki, they consist of something.
Yeah. Well, these are all covering very broad subject matters. For example, in Anvikshiki is divided into three: in Sankhya, in Yoga, and Tarka. There are so many subject matters that's part of curriculum that is meant to be introduced, where so many different subjects, like we are within Prabhupada actually formulated like Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta, like that. He gave some preliminary guidelines in terms of what needs to be studied. So these are centered on some of the basic books of knowledge, but there are additional books of knowledge that are also meant to be studied. So yes. So these will gradually be introduced as we begin to establish, which we've not yet actually done, Varnashram colleges. You see, we will be appointing individuals who will be acharyas of the different faculties that will be there, and there are so many sub-branches for which there will be individuals who are qualified, and and certified in different areas, like people who will know about astrology, people who will know about, for example, Vastu Shastra. There's so many sciences that are there, Vedic sciences, that are all important, necessary for organizing society and guiding society, so that we don't exploit material nature, we don't abuse natural resources that are there, etc. Like that. So gradually, that will be introduced, and we're endeavoring to do that. Yes.
How should Prabhupada deal with that situation, that not only the Kali-yuga destroying this system of Varnashram, but before that Parashuram experienced that all the Kshatriya leaders, and many of them, are not worth.
That question by explaining that question by explaining that for example, what Krishna encouraged. Krishna encouraged Arjuna, isn't it, to fight and to destroy those who are not in keeping with, upholding the principles of Dharma. Duryodhana and whoever was supporting him. However, Prabhupada explains that the process for the time being that we are following is in keeping with what Lord Chaitanya has introduced, and that we are meant to fight and destroy the demoniac elements, whereas in previous times situation was different, and there were so many. It's part of history that is there in the Bhagavatam. Different kings, you mentioned Parashuram or Krishna himself, the battle of Kurukshetra, etc. We're not in that position now. Our society and the movement that we are representing is, our weapon actually is to spread this knowledge and understanding at this point. Our weapon is holy name. Our weapon is to destroy ignorance by introducing knowledge, and at some particular point when society will be changing, when there will be communities, let's say, where we have governance over different members, or then there will be, but that will also be done, let's say, gradually. Punishment is in the hands of those who are presently in leadership position. A lot of that is not properly done because there are no proper, let's say, guidelines that people are following. So one of our endeavors or attempts is to reintroduce gradually this basic knowledge that is there in the Vedic culture, which also includes a system of governance that we have to be intelligently, gradually introducing. So it's something that needs to be done, I would say, gradually. Yeah.
I think that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati shows some example when he was educating the son of the king in Kolkata. I don't know which nation's king, but he was educating the son of the king by asking the king himself. And then when he told no, he's ready to be crown prince, Then the king accepted his own son to be his next,
Leader.
leader. So I think he shows that that is the duty of the Varnashram college,
To train.
to train these persons and not over, control them.
Right.
But also never controlled these kings, just give them advice. If they ask, they give it advice, but otherwise he was not wanted to get the control power over them. So it's not like ISKCON want to control
Right.
kings or kshatriyas or brahmanas.
Great.
Give advice,